Thanks everyone for joining and welcome to Search Reinvented, how brands can lead in the era of AI influence. This is hosted by BriteBirch Collective. I'm Jamie Reed. I'm the founder of BriteBirch. Also the Bright Start freelance community, which is a new community we just started. I'm thrilled to welcome everyone here to what I think is one of the most important conversations, I think, in marketing today. Really how artificial intelligence is reshaping how people discover and connect with brands. And so just, as I just posted in the chat, just a couple quick housekeeping things. Please keep yourselves on mute, except for obviously the speakers. Save Q&A until the end, but at any time, if you want to drop questions in the comments or at the end when we are in the Q&A, just raise your hand so that we can have some orderly question period. And then, just really quickly about BriteBirch. At BriteBirch, we believe that perspective is the most valuable asset in business. We're a global collective of over 300 experts who are, expert marketing, strategy, technology, and creative professionals, and who can all be activated together in and who work in a flexible sort of curated teams that deliver, what we think is big agency value, but at a much more flexible, affordable, and what I consider a much more fun package. And so we've helped, lots of clients in lots of different industries. But obviously AI is something that is disrupting a lot of what we do, a lot of what you're going to hear about, a lot of what our speakers are doing these days as well. But I'm sure it's impacting all of us. And so we're here today because the way people search and make decisions is really changing. And AI is moving from just being a tool to becoming a filter, shaping what people see, what they trust, and ultimately what they buy. Traditional SEO isn't going away, but it is evolving to include sort of a new paradigm. AIO is what I call it, but I know there's other names for it, but it's really artificial intelligence optimization. And so today we'll explore how brands can stay discoverable, credible, and relevant in this new search landscape. So to kick off, I was going to start with a quick poll, and this is it. Give everyone 30 seconds maybe to see if they can answer. In your opinion, what channel do you believe can have the biggest impact on AI search results? Okay. Let's share the results with everyone. So it looks like we're saying high organic search rankings still matter. Earned media, obviously, still matters in some different ways, both for reputable, but also maybe owned channels. So interesting. Okay, well, let's start with the intros. So we've assembled an amazing panel, I think, here of experts who each bring sort of a different perspective to the table around this topic. First, we have Sharon Mostyn, founder of Mostyn Marketing Group. Hello, Sharon. Sharon's a digital search strategist, Google partner, who's been, helping brands navigate the evolution of SEO for more than 2 decades. She's here to unpack really how AI is changing the rules of discoverability and what it means for marketers. Next, we have Gini Dietrich, who's the founder of Spin Sucks. You've probably heard of her. Gini's a pioneer in modern PR, the creator of the Peso model, which I remember using when I was at Edelman quite a lot, and host of Spin Sucks, the podcast. So she'll talk about the return of earned media and an AI-powered ecosystem, why trust and authority are once again at the center of search. And last but not least is Andy Crestanina, co-founder and CMO of Orbit Media Studios. Andy is one of the most respected voices in content strategy and author of Content Chemistry. He's going to be leading the conversation on sort of how AI and data are shaping the future of digital engagement. So welcome, Sharon, Ginny, and Andy. If I missed anything there in terms of the intros, please feel free to add to that.
I mean, Andy's got some new facial stuff going on, but other than that.
Oh, nice.
My daughter's in charge of it, and it's probably going to be gone in a day or two.
I love it.
I've delegated the decision about that to her.
You've delegated the decision.
You might as well keep it for Movember. I mean, you've already got a
Yeah,
head start.
fair. Yeah.
Yeah, it'd be weird to shave now, right? It's like a week away from the facial hair season.
Well, before we dive into the panel, I'm just going to try one more poll and let's see how this one works. So how do you see traditional search changing in the coming year? Again, just a single choice, just to get a sense for what people are thinking. Because everything is changing so fast. I think it's good to get a quick read on people's points of view.
Saying the poll responses.
Well, it's good to know that no one thinks that LLMs are just all hype. So there's some, and yeah, Google is not going away. We all agree. So be interesting to hear if anyone has any insights on what their plans are and how they're adapting to the changes that are happening in their, big industry that they're pretty much owning. So great. That's the results. So let's kick off. Just plant my notes here. Let's start by grounding ourselves in what's really changing. We're all obviously all feeling the shift, but how deep does it go? And we'll start with Sharon. From your perspective as a search strategist, how is AI changing the way users are finding and interacting with information? And what does it mean for what you're doing in traditional SEO, for how we used to understand it? Is it shifting anything there?
So I started out in the days of Alta Vista. That's how old I am. And Alta Vista was the first keyword-based search. Looking at kind of the big changes that we saw in the Penguin and Panda updates with low quality content and spammy links, and then mobile first indexing, where mobile was prioritized even if you had more desktop traffic. And now many sites are substantially more mobile than desktop. It's not just another update. This is a tectonic shift in how users find and interact with information. We're moving from searching for links and seeking answers to completing tasks within the search results. Tools like Google's search generative experience, Perplexity, ChatGPT, Microsoft Copilot, they all synthesize information from multiple sources to give you a single comprehensive answer. And that's before the user even has to click. And so we're seeing drops of 25% or more in organic search traffic coming into sites. But it makes it even more important in those zero-click journeys to get your brand mentioned and to get your content out there. And so that's kind of the big change that we're seeing in the industry right now.
Okay. I mean, that seems to be, I guess it's a big impact. But so if SEO is no longer than just about optimizing for the algorithm, what is it about really? Like what new skills or metrics should marketers start thinking about?
So we're no longer looking for keywords. We were looking traditionally for high volume, short tail keywords, or low volume, very targeted keywords. The new focus is on topics and intent and the niche conversational queries, and making sure that you're in that what used to be the people also ask, but now has been moved up into the AI overviews. And the old content goal of expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness, EAT, has now added experience. So it's EAT. And so, we used to focus for the Google algorithm. Now we're focusing for the AI summaries. And so there's a lot of challenges there. And the real challenge is clear, that if AI can already give you the answer, why do users care to click?
Right.
So that's what marketers should be thinking about is give us something beyond what can be summarized and show that experience and depth of expertise.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's why everyone's here, is to kind of try to find out some of those answers. And Ginny, as Sharon mentioned, these different changes that are happening, one big factor seems to be trust. I mean, again, I come from Edelman, so trust seems to be kind of burned into my psyche. But
Sure.
when AI starts curating the answers, like how does credibility, especially from earned media, come back into play in this?
So one thing, I just want to write that down. I have a Rainbird irrigation system for all the stuff in my yard, flowers and stuff. And one of the hoses broke above the garage. And I asked my landscaper, if the landscaping company, if they could fix it, and they couldn't. So I went to ChatGPT and I was like, this is the problem. Here's where I am. Can you recommend, like, how should I look for somebody that can do this? And it came back with 2 companies that could do it in my neighborhood. So I called both of them and went through the process because I wanted to see if it was actually credible. And both companies far exceeded my expectations. They responded immediately. They made an appointment fast. They came out here and told me what was wrong. They told me how much it was going to cost. And then I could make a decision on who I was going to work with. That all happened in like 48 hours. I didn't have to go to Google. I didn't have to find, reviews and all of that. It literally gave me 2. So when you think about that from your perspective, I already trust that ChatGPT is going to give me the right answer, right? And they were both highly credible companies. I didn't get my time wasted. Nobody ghosted me, anything like that. When you think about that from your perspective, you have to think about, how do we get into those 2 answers, right? How is our company or our brand going to be recommended? And it really comes down to, how are you building trust and how are you building credibility? And the 2 things that do that incredibly well are your content and your earned media. And today, earned media means more than media relations, right? It's more than traditional. It's the Substack and LinkedIn newsletter authors. It's the podcasters. It's the webinar hosts. It's people like that have influence, and they're the ones talking about your brand or your organization, and that's who you should be working with. So when you think about how all of this is changing, and we've all, like, every client on earth has shifted their budgets to paid because it's easy to measure and they know what their funnel looks like and they know what their cost per acquisition, and they can tell what their pipeline is, and that's great, but that's not what's going to show you, have you appear in AI answers. So you have to really put another focus on owned and earned media. And as a communicator by heart, as you understand, Jamie, this makes me very happy.
Yes, it seems that everything is coming full circle a little bit
Yeah.
when it comes to, I was hearing a lot of PR is dead a few years ago, and here we are again, right?
There
So
we
it's just,
are.
but the channels are changing, and I think what is considered credible media, like you were saying, is changing very much. And we are entering a time where people may not also see the brand website first, right? Where they're instead seeing AI summaries of the brand, and as you just explained. And so how can communicators and PR professionals then, in that specific sort of subset of the marketing industry, make sure that their content still reaches audiences authentically, even when filtered through these AI systems?
I think you have to think about a couple of things. One thing is consistency rules, because when something is inconsistent, so let's say you have your CEO's bio on the website is different than your CEO's bio on LinkedIn, that confuses the machines. And so they just, like, don't pay attention. So one of the things I would focus on for the rest of the year is ensuring that those things are consistent. Is our about page up to par? Are our bios accurate and consistent? If we have an anchor page on our website, which used to be called cornerstone content or pillar content, are those headlines the same as the headline, or similar enough to the headlines that are appearing in other publications, in social media, on digital assets? So you have to have that consistency. So one of the first things I would do is do a good audit of everything to make sure that things are consistent, so that you're not confusing the machines, and then you can start to build from there.
Okay. And so then do you think that, all this change could lead to a renaissance in earned media? Like, are we seeing, budgets shift back to the earn side of things, where validation becomes even more essential?
No. I would like to say yes, but I think we still have the challenge of not being able to measure it to pipeline into revenue. And until we can do that, I don't think that executives or the people that are in charge of the money are going to say, yeah, let's test this out. I think they'll start to understand that we're not showing up in AI answers and we have to do some of these things, but I don't think they're going to shift budget that way to make sure that they do yet. One of the things that my team and I are working on, especially through the evolution of the peso model, is ensuring that you can measure those things in a way that makes sense to the money people. But I don't think that there's going to be a renaissance in terms of let's move our paid dollars to earned, just because, like I said, paid is so much easier to measure. So we have to figure that piece of it out. And right now, paying attention to where you're showing up in AI answers is super manual. There isn't a software that helps us do that, right? So we'll get there, but I don't think we're there yet.
Okay. So Andy, this brings us to sort of the tech and strategy side. If trust is sort of, part of the new SEO currency, then how do AI models actually sort of interpret and reward that in the way that they surface content?
I think the most important shift is to understand that Google only gives you options, or traditional search only gives you options, but AI is giving you recommendations. So to optimize for AI, you have to think deeper into the funnel because that user is in consideration mode. So is it easy for AI to understand all the pros and cons about working with you, all the happy proof points about working with you? It's so much more fun than traditional SEO, I think, because you can just ask AI, what does Orbit Media do? What is Orbit Media good for? What are the pros and cons of working with a brand? Make for me a buyer guide that compares this brand to other brands. What are the strengths and weaknesses of BriteBirch versus other providers? And you can see in a table, it will show you where it thinks you're bad and where they're good. And then you can write copy directly into those points and improve it. Earned media, you can literally ask it, give me a list of 5 of my competitors. Where did you learn about those brands separate from their websites? Where do you train? What corners of your training data are used to inform which brand you recommend for users that have this, sprinkler issue, whatever? It will tell you. You can easily see exactly which of the earned media targets, which of the topics, which of the proof points are missing from your marketing, because you can simply pretend to be your audience for 10 minutes and just ask it to make buyer guides for you and everybody else, and then identify immediately and perfectly transparent, like where it thinks that you need to strengthen your messaging or be present on other places. So I think that SEOs are sort of poorly suited for this because they're not famous for including the conversion elements into their copy. They're really focused on discoverability. In fact, SEOs keep calling this AI visibility. What about recommendations? It's not just about visibility. The average query is like 4 words long. The average prompt is like 25 words long. They're having a conversation about your brand. They're asking it for recommendations. So it's going to be interesting. I predict that SEOs are going to jump into this space, but really the people who are going to be the best at it are the PR pros who understand offsite, not just links, but positive sentiment. Notice how all the AI tools are recording sentiment. And full funnel marketers that understand why people buy and don't buy. What wins the sales conversation? If you don't know that, and SEOs don't classically know that, how are you going to and this, I'm going to make it the kind of the takeaway statement. Your new job is to train AI to be a sales rep for your brand.
Yeah. Yep.
If what wins the sales call? Sales marketing alignment, conversion copywriting, supportive evidence, reviews, and then of course be present in those places where AI is training about your vertical.
Okay. Wow. I have some follow-up questions for that a little bit later, but just to kind of stay on track. I mean, you've talked a lot about in other talks I've seen you do around how AI is transforming not just sort of content creation, but content discovery. And from your perspective, what does artificial intelligence optimization look like in practice? Like, how can marketers really actually start to do this? How can we train AI to be our sales agents? Because I'm training AI all the time on other clients and things like that, but I don't know if it's actually impacting what is people are discovering on the other side.
Well, it's here's a fast way. Go to Google's AI mode and ask it for a list of possible providers for a category. And then ask it for a buyer guide or table showing the pros and cons of those providers. And then take a full page screenshot of that AI response. Google just told you what's in its training data. And then upload that full page screenshot to ChatGPT and say, how could I improve the likelihood that my brand gets recommended? It will basically give you a to-do list. It'll give you a prioritized list of next steps to retrain Google to recommend your brand instead of theirs. AI is a tool for doing AI optimization. It will show you exactly where it thinks you suck and you can fix it. Or just make sure that it's helping you disqualify the people that aren't recommended. You want to reduce noise. Like I keep getting, So generative AI is like such an all-purpose tool. And one of the use cases it's to improve your likelihood of being recommended within itself.
And one of the things
Okay.
I really like to do along that line is ask it to say to it, like, don't bullshit me. Thank you for this. Don't bullshit me. Because it always, be like, oh, that was amazing. Or you're so smart. I'm like, thanks. Don't bullshit me. Like,
Yeah.
what else can be done here? And I think asking it with that buyer's guide, just like keep prompting it to say, what else could I improve? What else could I improve? Is going to continue to help you do that.
And ask it what you forgot to ask it.
Love
And
that.
that's kind of the when I get that first result and it's like, okay, so what didn't I ask that should be
Love.
included?
Yep.
Yeah, I've started doing that a lot too, where I give it to give me questions first. It's like, what are the 10 things that you need to know before you give me an answer? And it really helps to make sure that they're not BSing me on certain things. But in the same way that I think like Wikipedia can be changed and updated, not always for good, right? Sometimes nefariously, and to kind of to own the narrative a little bit. I wonder if that's a risk also for AI at this point.
Oh, definitely.
I mean, have you seen all the Sora videos? Come on.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So I think trust is really that operative word for all of this. All three of you, I mean, do any of you have some examples that you're seeing of brands that are starting to do this right? Whether it's through, structured data, conversational content, AI first design thinking, or even just pure luck because they have really well organized websites or something like that. Like just who's showing up well in this space right now?
I can think of a few. I think I think that the best opportunities for most people are to have a big conversation, put it in thinking mode, and just have a big conversation about where you need to appear, where your gaps are, what's wrong with your content. Look at these pages. Are these pages doing a sufficient job to train users and AIs that I'm great for this option, this user? Uh, but I think more broadly, I can think of one, Will Reynolds from Sierra Interactive saw AI coming and spent about 2 years, not in targeted specific communities, but just on stages all over the place and in content and in short form videos and everything, just adding it to his topics. So his idea was to retrain the AI by just changing what he talks about and just started talking about it loudly and everywhere and is now relevant and has partly retrained AI to believe that Sierra is a good option for, AI type services. So I think you can do it much faster than that if you specifically learn where AI is training on your vertical. I think really there isn't, and all of this is weird because there aren't two separate algorithms or models. Google is summarization on top of search results, and ChatGPT searches. So these aren't separate things exactly. So people that are very good at SEO have a big advantage in AI because AI searches and uses search technology constantly. But the where and the what, how to do it well, how to improve the likelihood of being recommended, I think there are specific tactical things that, if you've got an hour to do marketing this month, you could actually do very good marketing in 1 hour if you know how to prioritize the actions.
Love that.
Okay. And so in terms of getting started for people on the in the audience right now, what's the practical thing like, and this is again open to all of you, that every company could just start doing today? I think we talked about, keeping your website updated and just having updated content. But anything else that would help them prepare for AI powered discovery?
Yeah, I mean, I would think about things like, proof points, building that trust and credibility. So Andy has always talked for years about having social proof on all of your pages. I would add to the social proof of having proof points. So like if you have original research, taking tips, pieces from that, like you could, the Edelman Trust Barometer, right? Having pieces from that on your web pages, building your anchor hubs or your cornerstone content or pillar content, whatever you want to call it, with, really specific headline that matches across the web, proof points, cards that reach to sibling content so that you have all of your internal linking, social proof, of course, anything that you can do to provide that credibility link and the trust so that the robots go, okay, they know what they're talking about. If I'm going to recommend them as a Rainbird consultant, then I know that that's going to be good because of all of these proof points. They've built the trust and the credibility. So anything that I recommend as the robot, I know is going to be good. And that's what you're trying to build, is building that trust through all of those proof points that you can create.
Okay. Just to build on that question though, too, is, I mean, for the last few years and even today, we're hearing, video content is what we need to be all producing. Is AI finding video the same way that it would find text right now? Or is that, how is that having an impact?
Well, for sure, Google is training Gemini on YouTube transcripts. Is that more for just base training data and improving its insights and language, or is it going to be used to recommend brands? It's unknowable. I don't think that. I mean, if you want to make a page that is search friendly or AI friendly, you need to make it easy to crawl. So any text that let's just assume for safety, for peace of mind and safety reasons, that it's not watching the videos, it's not even rendering the page. Like if you got like, oh, we've won these awards and you need to put the awards logos there, AI doesn't render the page and look at the pictures. So SEOs are quite good at this, making crawlable, scannable, ingestible, I think an AI would probably say ingestible content. So no, I don't think video might be more of a conversion strategy with video testimonials and video, about us videos and explainer videos. That's for converting human visitors. If you want to train AI to believe that you're amazing at what you do, you should not assume that it's going to watch videos or render images or anything like that. It's actually pretty simple technology when you think about, I mean, it's amazing just how big it is in hundreds of billions of parameters. But the way it learns, we all sort of know how it learns.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Adding the video transcripts is, or having optimized video transcripts for the topic that you're talking about is more important than the video itself. And so it's okay to do the video on your iPhone and post it out there, as long as what you have to say in the video is optimized for AI. And the same thing with images. We've, as SEOs, we've said all along, images are great and they look really pretty, but if there's no alt tag, the search engines don't know what it is. And the alt tag shouldn't be woman in front of boat.
That's a great alt tag for you.
So
All right, so shifting gears a little bit, let's talk about the future. We're seeing AI agents that can make recommendations. They're starting to make purchases, right? It's not just put in a query, get an answer. Now there's you're getting much more sort of sophisticated. I'll use the word thinking on behalf of users. So what happens when the search result isn't really a link anymore, but it's actually a conversation, and we're starting to do that? Can start with Andy. Like, how far are we from that reality, and what does it mean for marketers?
Well, in this moment, it's important to separate the two types of searches. The people looking for information are getting their answers in search results. This trend goes back many, many years. Featured snippets and people also ask boxes and knowledge panels and all of the other features have been crashing click-through rates for information intent queries since 2015. So set those aside. Some of those become zero-click key phrases. Obviously, no one needs to click to see how tall an actor is because it answers that. People used to do SEO for that. I know people who built glossaries for SEO. Like that sounds crazy now. So information intent queries are the most disrupted. Commercial but here's why I don't believe in zero-click marketing. I think it's BS. Commercial intent queries, many of those visitors still do have visit website intent. They're trying to get to a website. Ginny's example was literally like taking action from the AI response, but there's still huge categories where people would never make a choice without clicking to look and to read and to consider and make a decision and see who they are. So those commercial intent queries are still worth fighting for, and absolutely something that those are pages AI is sending people to. People are asking to get to those. People are skipping AI overviews. A lot of people are still, just go look at anyone's analytics account and you'll see huge amounts of traffic flowing through from search engines. It's just, I don't see that really changing because I believe that there is such a thing as visit website intent and that high consideration searchers are clicking. So that's, I think, clarifying for some people is all of us need to separate in our minds information intent queries, I think of them as question marks, from commercial intent queries, I think of them as dollar signs. And one of those is badly disrupted, but that person never wanted to go to a website anyway. And Google's keeping them anyway. It's everyone is posting. My LinkedIn stream is filled with these top line traffic reports going down. And if you ask them, have you made a GA4 comparison that separates people who started on your content program versus the others? They never do. They think all traffic, I mean, it's like, not everybody, I mean, I remember years ago, people were sort of annoyed that they had tons of traffic to some weird irrelevant post. And they're like, oh, my data is weird now. How can I get rid of this? And now those same people are complaining that the traffic is down. You never wanted that visitor.
You didn't want it anyway.
Bounce rates down too, right? So
conversion rates up.
They did not want to visit a website. And Google didn't want to send them to you. Why do you care? It's weird. Now that having said that, you need a strategy to promote your content, and there's other strategies, but
yeah.
Okay, so to that point, then other strategies, like in a world of conversational search, like, in terms of like how we're telling stories, Ginny, like, how do you stay human in an AI-driven landscape? Like, how do brands, change the way that they tell their stories, or do they need to?
I mean, so here's what I think. I think that a good majority of brands do not tell their story well to begin with, and they don't market their companies and products and services well to begin with. So until you can do that well, you shouldn't be changing anything. So focus on humans, your ideal customer profile, your brand personas, get the marketing nailed down and good, and then you can worry about the robots. Because and I would say a majority, not some, a majority of brands are this way. Get your marketing dialed in first, and then you can worry about the AI. Because until you do that, until the humans because the humans are the ones who are going to buy, until you can get them to convert, no amount of AI is going to help you do this. It's kind of like, when Oprah had her show in Chicago, and because I'm in Chicago, people would call and say, we need to hire a PR firm so we can get on Oprah. And I'd be like, let me go next door and have a conversation with her. Like, that's not how it works. So I am convinced that there's some sort of like underground executive school that they send leaders to as they're learning to scale their businesses, that they say, okay, here's what you're going to do. You're going to spend $10,000 a month. You're going to hire a PR firm, and you're going to have them get you on Oprah or the front page of the New York Times, and all of your sales problems will be solved. That's not how it works. So when you take that and extrapolate it to marketing, same thing. There's not an easy answer. There's not an easy button. Get your marketing dialed in first, and then you can worry about the AI. Because until the humans are ready to buy, no amount of AI is going to help you.
Okay. And Sharon, I mean, we've talked over the years, every time there's an algorithm change, like I've given you a call to kind of, give me the lowdown on what's new and what's changed. So, You've helped so many brands adapt over these major shifts in search over the years, whether it's for mobile voice and now AI. What's your advice for leaders who just sick of the change, just
Yeah.
feel overwhelmed? I know me as like a fairly small business, it's a lot to take on all the time to constantly try to stay on top of these things.
Well, if you think about it, it really isn't a whole lot different than mobile voice, because 5 years ago I was at an event at one of the Google headquarters, and they said, everything's focusing on, you know, Siri and Alexa, and and you've got to be first or you're not there. That hasn't changed much. It's you if you're not first in the AI's algorithm or in the AI's mind, you're not in the consideration set. And so stop the mindset of catching up. I've got to catch up to AI and I've got to do all of these things. Just like Jenny said, like start with getting the marketing right, and then focus on auditing where that friction is from the right marketing to what you're presenting, and then ask the right questions. It's not how can we use generative AI, it's how can generative AI remove the friction for our customer, and how can AI, you know how do we focus from this daunting technology mandate to a manageable business problem. Your people know how to sell your product and make your company the best, the brightest, the whatever. Otherwise, you wouldn't still be around. Now translate that. So that's, it's still the same advice. Don't panic. Even if you're not number one in the AI search results today, tomorrow, a year from now, you're still going to be getting that traffic. You're still going to be relevant if your business practices, using Ginny's example, if you're the number one Rainbird person, you're going to be the number one Rainbird person, whether AI recognizes it or not.
Great. All right. Well, we got a couple more minutes before we go into questions. So, just for a closing sort of round here, in one sentence, can each of you give a top tip for brands that want to lead, not just react, but lead in this era of AI influence?
Shoot, you told us we had to think about this too.
I'll start. Fix the mousetrap before you worry about cheese by polishing your homepage and key service pages to a level of perfection of conversion optimization, including all the messages that win the sales conversation, and is sufficiently specific and detailed so that AI knows what you do and believes you're good at it. And you should do that even if there was no such thing as AI.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sharon.
Is that you have the same answer, Ginny?
I'm still
Sounds
thinking. I got it.
Okay.
I got it. I have an answer. I'll let you
Go ahead, Ginny, go.
Oh, okay. I really would replace a focus on earned and owned media, because that is going, and make sure it's consistent. I think Andy's right. Polishing up, making sure that you're marketing correctly, that you can market to humans, but put a focus on that earned and owned media is going to help you show up in AI answers for sure.
Sharon?
I'm going to say focus on EAT, experience, expertise, authority, trustworthiness. Because if AI can't verify your unique value, it won't cite you, and you won't exist in that future of search.
Okay. Great. I really appreciate the thoughtful responses to all this. We now have some time for questions. Can open it up to the floor. If you want to raise your hand, you can just come off mute and ask the question, or feel free to ask it in the chat. I can get started while we're waiting for people to ask their questions. How do you think, and it's going to happen, and I think we all know it's probably going to happen. How do you think paid results are going to make themselves available in the AI search realm? Like how is it going to manifest itself? How would a brand be able to pay to get, Cortana or some AI put them first in their answers.
It's inevitable. There's going to be a service. You're going to buy topics and intent. You're going to get weird data on it. It's not going to be like click-through rates and stuff, but they're going to try to connect it like they did with the Shopify integration. I think they're going to try to report back to you on, conversions in some way. They launched a browser yesterday, so they're going to have way more data than they ever had. OpenAI's browser is called Atlas. I'm not using it now, but I've got it open on that window, on that screen. But no, they'll just be a new ad platform. People with budgets will pay for it, and the data will be very different, but performance might be quite good. I'm not a paid marketer, so but it's inevitable. There's no question, right? Like all of us will be monetized. That's a very safe bet.
Right. Any questions? All right, Marjorie has a question. Curious what you all think about the Google AI shopping experience. I find it hard to find a lot of retailers taking advantage of that.
I think it's generational because I would agree with you, but my kid is like obsessed. So I think that's a generational thing, unfortunately.
Agreed. Yeah, it's definitely a generational thing, and it's going to change over time as well. It's not static, so don't get used to it.
Yeah.
I think the future of AI shopping might be way beyond what is the quote? People overestimate technology in the short run, but underestimate it in the long run. I think people will not just use AI to find options, but they'll let AI decide which one to buy. I think we'll have personal shopping assistants, and the experience might be extremely lightweight. And you just say, hey, I'm looking for a set of steak knives. I like this one and this one. The Japanese brands sound pretty cool. My budget's $200. Get me one for Monday, and it'll just show up. And so
I'm all for that. Bring my robot overload. I like it.
that will be the biggest shift when we let AI make decisions for us. Get ready.
Yeah,
And
I love it.
Especially low value decisions, like if you don't really care what kind of toilet paper, then let AI make that decision. But if you do care, obviously, about the car you drive, like there's going to be certain things you won't probably want AI to make decisions for. But
and then you have visit website intent, because you're a high consideration user and you want to dig deep and spend time and look carefully.
And Amazon's been doing it for years.
Yeah.
I mean,
personalized.
Okay, any other questions?
I'm gonna start calling on people.
Oh, did I? From a student?
Ingrid Alonso said, hello from San Francisco Bay Area, current EMBA student at Cornell. What about using AI for sentiment, reviews, social media comments, etc.?
Oh, yes, absolutely. We have what we call the Peso model compass, and it takes all of the sentiment, takes all your social media listening, all of your media mentions, all of your paid, all of your Google Analytics, and it rolls it into one report every week. And then from that, we have it help us predict. So there have been a couple of times where it's helped us. There was one situation where there was a conversation happening in a dark subreddit about one of our clients' brands, and something that as humans we wouldn't have noticed until it kind of amplified. And the AI said, there's something going on here, you should pay attention to it. And so we started to read and pay attention. And then the next week we had the AI build that into the report, and it started to predict, like, this could become a crisis for this brand if you're not careful. And we were able to address it before it did. There have been situations where it's helped us predict, like, there are some things coming for opportunities for new products or services, or a line extension. So we've built it in so that it does take all of that data and help us in a way to kind of what I would call predict the future, that we as humans would not normally be able to do without a lot more data and context.
And one thing to really remember is that AI and search engines in general do not understand sarcasm. And so if that is part of your brand, which
Yes.
in many cases people try and be edgy with their brand and they're being sarcastic, it does not come across in AI.
Yeah, do things like tone of voice matter anymore? Like, I work
Yeah.
really hard on putting out content that has a certain tone of voice, but when AI is translating that for someone else and giving a recommendation, does it like position me as like the cooler brand or does it
I
care,
don't
right? Like, is
know.
it
Um, I think that's one of the most common questions about AI is how do I use AI to write things that sound like me? But it is, as a language processing and generation tool, the finer points about the words you choose in the structure of your language are all getting sent through the wash on a processing thing. It's trying to understand. It's predicting the next token of language in a series based on if the user's input has a certain tone, and if their model is trained to respond in a certain tone, tone is relevant there. But mostly to train the models, I think it's just about, specifically like those trust elements. Comparison charts work really well. A lot of people are making, that buyer guide I said, if you just took it and edited it and posted it on your website, it would ingest that. Like there's like the hacks I think are weirdly like way more
Yeah.
effective right now than things like tone.
Yeah.
What about the need for deep, rich content for AI? How does this all affect the length of blog posts and the detail needed on product service pages? Yeah, great question. Because when you know something's being written by AI, do you want to read 20 minutes worth of it, or would you rather just have the
No, of course
synopsis?
not. Yeah.
Or, what's does the longer the content is impact the trustworthiness of it from an AI perspective?
Well, it's
Good
reading every
question, Steph.
word. It will read every word. If you put ChatGPT into agent mode and give it a page, it's a problem for audits because if you want to, let's say you write a prompt that evaluates a page against its use of trust signals and EAT and those things and case studies and comparison tables. It will tell you that you covered off on something, even if that was a very low prominence, small text at the bottom. So the way that AI sees the internet and the way that humans see the internet are so wildly different. It has infinite patience. It processes the entire URL. It doesn't take into account visual hierarchy. It's like Daniel Kahneman's book, Thinking Fast and Slow. It's always in slow thinking mode. It has no, it doesn't run out of, it just processes the whole thing. So uh, if that's useful, if you make pages specifically to train AI, but it's a caution if you use AI to audit the page against its use of persuasion, or if you're paying attention to humans, you're balancing these things. I'm talking too
Jenny,
much.
Ingrid had a nice comment for you there.
Yeah. Thank you, Ingrid.
Um, Actually, Ginny, I had a quick question. Like thinking about crisis communications and things like that. We used to use dark sites sometimes and have sort of, the information up there, but not accessible and being able to kind of put out content in a quick way. Like I know that there's a time delay in terms of how AI ingests and then repurposes information. But so is there a role for these tools and stuff from a crisis and a quick response kind of capacity?
I would say less about sort of the assets and the process. I think that remains the same. Where I want you to think about AI, especially in a crisis, is, and I've been talking about this a lot lately because it completely blows my mind, but the whole Cracker Barrel logo debacle, 51% of the outrage were bots. So bots started to talk about it. Bots created the outrage, bots fueled the fire, and then it was amplified by Trump and a couple of other influencers, and that's what created the real crisis and then losing $100 million in market cap. So when you think about crisis comms and preparing, I think it's extraordinarily important to add onto the front end sort of this compass that I was talking about that can help you predict, but then also pay attention to the comments, because if they're all similar, if they're all happening like 24 hours around the clock when normal humans are sleeping, that those kinds of things will tell you that it's actually bot inflamed. And then you can go to your trusted journalists, and hopefully you have some, to say, or trusted bloggers, trusted influencers, to have them help you tell the story that this isn't actually an outrage. People aren't actually upset about this. This is all bot, and then show the proof points. Because I think that's the front end of crisis comms that we have to be thinking about. Because if it's 51% now, it's going to be 75% next year, right? And then it could be 100%. And then we're reacting to bots, not humans, and we have to stop that now.
Right.
100%.
It's crazy.
Doesn't that mean no outrage? If 100% of the outrage was from not from bots?
There's no outrage. It's kind of like the American Eagle Sydney Sweeney jeans thing. Like, there weren't real humans upset about it. Like, but it created this whole uproar. Yeah, that blows my mind.
Weird.
Yeah. Yeah. And all the AI slop too now, where the AI is just regurgitating the AI
Yes.
that,
Yes.
it's okay. As we're getting close to the end, then, is the death of the internet imminent because of all of this? And if it's not, is it going to look different categorically in the next 5 years? And maybe we can, does anyone have any predictions for what it could look like?
I think anybody predicting the death of anything is like, come on. I do think that the internet's not going to die. I actually just did some content on this. It's surrounded by ghosts. There are ghosts in the atmosphere. And we have to think about like all the things that we've talked about here, right? If we're creating content and we're building brands that are trusted both by humans and bots, if we build credibility, if we show the proof points, we will still stand out. So the basics still really matter. The way that we market to human beings still really matters. And those are the things that are going to make us stand out. Are we surrounded by bots and by misinformation and disinformation and all that stuff? Yes. It's in how we react to those things that is going to help us continue to build our brands and scale and grow.
Great answer.
I think this is an upgrade to the internet. I think the internet is a mess at the moment. I think the user experience, especially for visitors on mobile, is just terrible. I mean, if you search for information, Google has packed so much garbage into the search results. And if you're on a phone and you tap, you land on a page probably that wants you to accept cookies and share your location and close the pop-up and then scroll through a bunch of keyword stuffed content before you get to your answer. It is so much cleaner, faster, more private, visually less noisy. It's just, so I think it's great.
For now.
It's great I think the internet is, and the experience of, if you've played with the new ChatGPT browser, you can just talk to it about the website rather than navigating. Like the UX is so beautiful. It's just a box you talk to. I think it's a fun time to be doing this. I think it literally feels to me like the internet got better.
I think too that you should, and Andy can do this, if you have kids who are high school or younger, give them a ChatGPT account and watch how they use it. It blows my mind. Like, I sometimes am like, really? And I think I'm pretty progressive with this stuff, but like, so that's where it's going. So if you want to learn, like, predict where it's going, watch somebody who's like 7 to 18 years of age use it, because your mind will be absolutely blown.
I say the same thing about, going to Asia or Latin America and seeing how they use, the same technologies and platforms and stuff. I mean, we didn't even get into like the language topics. Like I'm curious to know how, ChatGPT would give me an answer if I asked it about something to do with India. Is it going to also scrape all of Indian content and then retranslate it back? Like, just, yeah, there's a lot more to this discussion is not going to end anytime soon.
No,
so
it's not. Awesome.
Mark David did just ask one final question. If there's any blog formats that you think are more valuable with the shift towards AI for information.
There's a lot of little
Yes.
notes about this. I've seen data. It's like make use schema or include lots of formatting, like things that have H2s and are very structured. Write your copy so that it's like semantically complete little chunks of language and meaning. Uh, it's, I mean, if keyword focus generally, but information intent queries are kind of been blasted. Uh, I don't know. I mean, I would optimize your I think for every content strategist, I would prioritize those two formats of content, which AI can never do, which are strong opinion and original research. Make your site the primary source for new information or take a stand. Now you're different. AI can't do those things. Collaborate with others. AI has no friends. Like, just do what we're doing. Like, it's so easy to differentiate from AI. Stop publishing anything that AI could have made, and
Yes.
you'll do great.
Yeah. Create content that people want to read and want to link to and want to share.
Awesome.
Hasn't
Well, that's
changed. Tools have changed. Basics have not.
yeah, he sounds like similar, last comments that we had 10 years ago on a different technology, maybe at one point. But I think at the end of the day, it's about distinguishing what's human and what's not human and making sure that you can still tell the difference. So thank you, everyone. This has been a great session. Really appreciate Sharon, Ginny, and Andy. Joining us for this. I think thank you for everyone who's joined as well. We'll synthesize this video. We'll make it searchable by AI, of course, and hopefully you guys can join us for the next one. But yeah, this was a really great, and I really appreciate everyone's time.